Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of Money with Alpha. And today I'm actually quite excited. I've been wanting to have this conversation for a while. I have the lovely Kaki Lee. Hello, welcome.
Hi.
So, Kaki will share a little bit more. Her story itself is like, you've had such a varied career and the directions and you studied accounting, you were a pharmacist, now you do, money, wealth, and share. Like, there's so many things. So, we'll get through all of those and I'll let you introduce yourself a little bit more. But we were connected recently through I met somebody whose partner knew you and it's just an amazing example of how humans can connect. And I was so excited to see what you do because shares and learning to invest in that way is something I also would like to get better at from a because I'm an investor. I'm not a trader. So there's a distinction there that we'll talk to too. But please share your journey in your words because when we caught up and you shared it with me, I was like, oh my goodness, and you're still young. I was like, how have you done so many things and you're still so young? So please tell us about yourself.
I'm not that young, but thank you. Thank you for having me on your podcast. I don't even know where to start. So I had a 20-year career in pharmacy. So this is from like pharmacy student to becoming the chief pharmacist in a children's hospital here in Perth, Australia. And then when I had my second child, I decided that I was going to do this share trading program that I bought a year before. And because I'm a type A alpha personality, I went, okay, let's, just do this first day maternity leave. I'm like doing this share trading course. And I remember I probably had about 2, 3 weeks before I had the baby. And at the hospital, I actually brought my laptop because my second one's like born towards the end of financial year. I'm like, I'm gonna get ready for my taxes, bring the laptop into the hospital because that's what you do when you have a baby, right? And I remember calling my share trading coach and he's like, where are you? It sounds so different to where you usually are. I'm like, I
Yeah.
just popped a baby. And he's
Yeah.
like, why are you calling me?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, so within 6 months of me actually starting sh this particular type of share trading called covered calls, I'll talk a bit more about it later. I replaced my chief pharmacist income, so my monthly income, and I
Mhm.
went, oh, I don't need to go back to work.
Mhm.
And I needed to see that that I can sustain it. So I did sustain it and I left pharmacy after 20 years in pharmacy. There was a lot of grief, as you could imagine, like going from this identity that I had built
Yeah.
to completely dismantling and losing it.
Yeah.
So I actually initially got the call to become a life coach.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, I'm going to be a life coach and save the world. And now I know I can't save everyone, and people only want to be saved if they
Yeah.
want to. But it kind of I just went down this path of following my nudges and opportunities that presented to me.
Hmm.
So I went from life coach to then starting a podcast because I just had this big loud voice tell me to start a podcast one morning. So I ditched the life coach, started a podcast, did that for about a year or two before I had this other epiphany going, oh my gosh, I can like teach people how to share trade and also combine that with like life coaching and energy work because I got into all that during that podcasting time. And so that's kind of what I do now, which is teaching people how to share trade, but really also focusing on the mindset and the energy, which is really your emotions.
Hmm.
Because I always say that, share trading success is 80% your mindset and energy and 20% your strategy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've got evident, like you're also an author. You've got, if anybody's
Yes.
watching the video, there's 4 books behind Kaki. And
Yes.
but if you're listening, I will explain it. Well, I'll tell you, there's 4 there, and I'd love you to talk to those as well because you do the thing and then you're teaching it. Like I've seen a lot of teachers out there who are just teaching what they've learned and they're not necessarily doing it. And if they are, they're not doing it successfully and consistently. That was the word that you said before. That I was like consistently making that money, because it's one thing to make money 1 month and then have nothing for 6 months, or not even nothing, but lose. And I think that's the part that a lot of people are fearful of, is losing money rather than, making it, or if it, and even if you're making it, if it's too easy, is it legal? Like, there's all these things. So
Yeah, yeah.
so many alarm bells tend to go off when we think about share trading, yet we'll spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on a single asset, as in a property. But somehow when it comes to share trading, it's just too scary. So tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about the author journey as well.
Yeah. So during my podcast era, I had my podcast for 4 years, but then I decided it was time to let it go. I met a publisher and she got me into my books. So the first one, if you're watching the video, is the pink one here, Uncensored, Untamed, Unleashed. So that was my first multi-author book. I had no idea what it was. I interviewed this publisher. Next day, she sends me an email and said, "That was the best interview I've ever had. I'd like to invite you to become part of this book." And I'm like, "What is this?" And that's how I got into it. Then the second book, Prosperity Codes, is from one of the authors from the first book who went, "Oh, you'll fit right in because you teach share trading and money." So I went,
Hmm.
"Okay." And then the third book is The Awakened Feminine, which is the name of, which was the name of my podcast. And I went, "Oh, I partnered with the publisher that I interviewed and went, how do I do this multi-author book thing? Because I just feel it in my heart that I need to create this book. So I partnered with her. She did the publishing side. I did the bringing the right people side of it.
Hmm. Yeah.
And the last book, Badass Asian Women, is my baby. So I then learned how to publish books from the publisher.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then created this book, Badass Asian Women, and brought in some badass Asian women to be part of it.
Yeah.
So I really am someone I think that just does the thing and I learned how to do it. Badass Asian Women was published 2 years ago, and this year I finally finished the audiobook. That was a labor of love. Of sweat and tears and blood. No, no blood, but it was a lot of
Yeah.
work to learn how to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my author journey. That was a kind of like a detour in between all the things that I've
Yeah.
done in the last 7 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So and how old are your daughters?
So my oldest one's 11 and I've
Mhm.
got a 7-year old. I started this journey when my little one was, well, when she was born, when I
Yeah.
started the share trading, but
Yeah.
business side of things, when she was 6 months.
Yeah, so right. So you've kind of got your daughter's age, your second daughter's age is like the how long you've been doing this yardstick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you certainly haven't like been, the quiet mum doing just mum and work. Like you've done more than that, which is,
Yeah.
incredible. So your course, if I can call it that, is Cashflow Queen. And when I was looking through it, and yeah, because I'm doing my own sort of investigation, because I was like, I'd really love to do this as well. It's just one of those things where I'm like, okay, I need to create that time and space. But because holidays and all of that are over now, I can give it that. And the thing I find really different about it, because I've done share trading courses before, and it was all about candlestick charts and technical analysis um, and even the platforms were a little bit complex. But you don't just do that. There is the mindset side, like you said, and there's the strategy. It's not just the investing strategy. It's like your own, and that's one of the things I do a lot with my clients. It's like, well, what do you actually want money for? What's the lifestyle that you want? And that's also it infiltrates every decision that we make, which is what you then incorporate in what you do too. So maybe give us a little bit of an understanding of what is in Cashflow Queen, and then also what are covered calls. So I know there's like
Mm.
two big questions in there. So you can just start maybe with what Cashflow Queen actually is.
Yeah. So Cashflow Queen is a program I created because because I have obviously done share trading courses
Yeah.
and it was very focused on the strategy.
Yeah.
And they will kind of chuck in a sentence like, but you need to work on your mindset. I'm like, well, what do I need to do to work on my mindset? Because,
Yeah.
it's all well and good for you to say that, but most people don't even know what money mindset even is.
Yeah.
I recently have a new client and she is very logical, like doesn't, I asked her initially, like, oh, okay, are there any money beliefs that you have? And she goes, what are they? So
Yeah.
most people don't even know what they are. So when you,
Yeah.
do a share trading course and they just chuck that sentence in doesn't chuck that sentence in,
Yeah.
it doesn't help.
Yeah.
So I went, okay, because I did all the life coaching, I put it together and the energetics and all that. So really, it's me teaching you this strategy called covered calls,
Mhm.
and I teach you like the mindset that you need to have
Yeah.
because like you said, most people are very scared of the stock market, and then once they get into the stock market, if it's easy for them, they kind of get complacent and they just kind of do whatever. There's no particular strategy because
Mhm.
sometimes it is very easy to make money on the stock market when the market's going up.
Yeah.
Anyone can make money on the stock market.
Yeah.
It's being able to navigate it when it goes down or it doesn't go according to your plan. So that's what we really focus on. And the thing is, you can't work on your mindset when you're not actually trading because you don't know what's going to come up.
Yeah.
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 So one of the things I initially did a group program, but I'm finding like the one-on-one is a much deeper way to do it because
Mm.
I actually can hold you by the hand, whereas in the group is a bit harder to do that
Yeah.
with everyone. So what I do is obviously not get you to trade your own money at the beginning. We have a simulation
Yeah.
platform that you go on, have a play, and you can already kind of see the little nuances and quirks or money beliefs that start coming up because you're like,
Mhm.
oh, but that didn't work. How come it didn't work? Because
Yeah.
people just expect things to work. They're like,
Yeah.
well, did you do this or did you look at that? So we go through all that, and it's a 3 month program. So depending on how quickly you want to do things. I had a
Yeah.
student that started on day 4. So she signed up, did all learned everything. Day 4 she was live trading. I have
Yeah.
ones that take a bit longer.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it works. In
Mm.
terms of covered calls, I actually trade on the US stock market because
Yeah.
in Australia, there's a lot less opportunities to do this particular strategy. There's only
Hmm.
about 200 shares you can probably do it for, whereas in America, you've got 5,000 plus that you can do it on,
Yeah. It's the
just slightly
population.
better opportunities.
Yeah.
So that's why I trade on the US stock market. Essentially, it is you buying stocks
Hmm.
and then also selling a contract where you say to someone, I've got these stocks for $100. If you want to buy them off me in, say, I'm just going to say 2 weeks, 2 weeks' time,
Hmm.
give me some money to hold that stock for you. So you're making money from a lay-by or a deposit or I
Yeah.
don't know, what you
Yeah.
call them. I call them it's called premium. So
Yeah.
that's how you make the money.
Okay.
And you can set the stock price for however much you want to sell it for,
Yeah.
but usually that means the premium that they pay you is a bit less because you're asking for a lot more than the
Yeah.
price that the stock is currently. So there's obviously it's a lot more than that,
Yeah.
but that's the cover call strategy in a nutshell. I
Hmm.
also teach people how to protect their money. So
Hmm.
what I love about this strategy is that you can protect up to like 95% of your money if you want. So I teach you to
Hmm.
buy insurance.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And I think and it's again, it's the knowledge. There's people doing this and making lots of money, but then, and everyone's just like, oh, but that couldn't possibly be legal, real, or I couldn't possibly learn how to do that. You're like, well, you just have to have the right teacher
Yeah.
who has the experience and the knowledge to do it. And actually, because there's also a specific software that you use as well. So quite often the question I get asked when people are like, oh, I want to invest, it's like, well, how do I do it? And I was like, well, you need a platform to buy it through. And they're like, oh, well, what platforms are there? And I was like, well, there's a lot out there. And of course, the main one everybody knows is ComSec. They're like, oh,
Yes.
I'll just buy it on ComSec. I was like, yeah, yeah, there's other options, but yeah, if you feel comfortable with that, you can do that. That's fine too. But you're gonna pay trading fees and all sorts of other things. But
Yeah.
so yeah, so there's a platform that they actually do this through.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't use ComSec. You can do cover calls on ComSec, but you're going to be paying an arm and a
Yeah.
leg for your commit on your commissions.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's the, I was like, you're going to, yeah, that's the exact same thing I tell people when they mention that. I was like, yeah, that's, it's the known, but you're going to
Yeah,
pay for it.
yeah, yeah.
And it'll eat into whatever margin or profit that you may or may not make. So you need to,
Yes,
bargain hunt a little bit or understand what you're doing. So
definitely.
yeah. So what I suppose for you, like as a business owner, like what are your plans? Like do you have sort of goals and things like that you want to achieve with what you're doing?
I've recently realized that I do what I do because I actually really want to spread this knowledge
Yeah.
because there, I think with all business owners, there's this part of you where you're like, why am I doing this? I really just want to be at home, do things where I don't have to be out here all the time when,
Mhm.
especially when you have an online business and you need to, put yourself out there.
Yeah.
So it took me a long, like 7 years to really not have that struggle of, oh, I need to put myself out there. But I do
Yeah.
want to share this because I don't need to. I can just really just share trade
Yeah.
and not do this.
Yeah.
So as yeah, so for me, it really is about wanting more people to learn about this because we've been told that money is hard to make, it's
Mm.
a struggle, it's easy to lose, especially if you're on the stock market. It's not
Mm.
for women. I've had that come up recently from one of a question that I put on Facebook the other
Yeah.
day, and I was just like, wow, there's so many stories, and I'm here to just dismantle them.
Mm.
Yeah.
Seriously, somebody said that share trading's not for women?
Hmm.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
can't believe we're in
That
2026.
one was like, oh,
Yeah,
why
yeah.
would you say this?
Mm. Oh,
Yeah.
goodness me. It's just it's really incredible. Like my husband still is he's in a male brain obviously, and he's like, "Oh, I don't see the gender pay gap, that's not real. And, women have lots of opportunities. There's the Me Too movement. There's all this stuff, that, it's like, you go, girl. There's all these. I'm like, yeah, but the reason they're there is because in reality, it's not. Like, there's still a lot of perception. I still remember when I started as an accountant and the partner I was working for, he was quite like, I didn't realize it at the time, but very enlightened. And we went into the Tattersalls Club, which only recently actually allowed women to become members. And this was like 20 plus years ago. And so they weren't allowing women to be members. And it was even a big deal for a woman or a female to even walk in the door. And I went to this breakfast sitting there. I'm the only female and
Wow.
the young female as well. And I got all these looks and I'm looking at the partner I was working with, just going, like, what the hell is this place? Where have you brought me? Because I'd heard of Tattersalls, but I didn't really know anything about it. And I just remember those looks and the feeling that I had somebody there who said to me I belonged, and that was kind of enough. But the energy in the room was definitely not like that. And I also grew up in a very patriarchal culture on my dad's side, which was very much like the women are the homemakers. You want something to eat or drink, you just click your fingers and they'll go get it for you. So, and there's still those sorts of cultural undertones that impact us. And the money space, it really bothers me. So to
Mm.
hear something like that, I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. And I think traditionally, when you think of the stock market, like back in the 80s, the pictures you see on TV is they're on the stock market floor and
Yeah.
it's
Wolf of Wall
all
Street.
men. Yeah.
Yeah.
And all men,
Yeah.
so for women, that is quite intimidating.
Yeah.
And traditionally, the men look after household finances. So even now, I look at my friends, and there's some that just give their power away to their husbands. So whatever is made, then the husband looks after it.
Yeah.
In my household, I look after the finances,
Yeah.
but it's very much just women then not knowing how to handle money. So for me, it's wanting women to have that permission to go, I am intelligent, I'm capable
Yeah.
to handle money and know what to do with it.
Yeah. And it's that element of risk. And I'm using risk in inverted commas in a way because I think when we think of investing in particular, there is risk, yes. And there's that perception that, women have lower risk tolerance than men. And possibly from a stereotypical perspective, that's correct because we've got more that we're considering. It's not just about us. We've got to make sure that there's food on the table, that there's roof over their head. And not to say that the men don't think about that too, but we think about more things holistically to make sure that, there's all the well-being. So the emotional well-being is there. And sometimes you need money to be able to do that. If you've got a child who's unwell or needs some sort of therapy, the money is what is going to allow you to provide that benefit to them. So there's more that we want to protect. So there's this whole, oh, we need to like hang on to it or protect it. So the risk factor gets elevated in terms of its level of importance. And then as soon as we hear that, there's share trading and there's risk and you could lose money, then instantly they're like, oh, well, no, I can't do that. So, but when you're saying that there's ways to protect it, like 95% potentially, then that just starts to sort of change the conversation and go, okay, well, you just have to learn it in a non-patronizing way because you can teach something to someone and go, now, here is what you could do, and you know as soon as you're being patronized too. So that's definitely not how you teach. And I think it's important, I think, for a woman to be taught share trading from another woman, especially one who's got that experience as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So with your daughters, because I remember when we spoke the first time, your older one is already interested in investing and she hears your little like cha-ching kind of sounds whenever you make money. Give us a little bit because I was like, oh, I love this. My daughter would so love this as well.
Yeah, so I think probably around 2 years ago, my oldest one was like, Mummy, because they think I just sit at home all day and do nothing. I'm running a business, a few businesses. So she's going, Daddy goes to work, but you say you work at home. What do you do? So
Hmm.
I explained to her all the things. I went, but my favorite one is share trading, which is what I teach. And then she goes, oh, okay. And she kind of like, oh, okay, right. And then I think I started share trading in bed. And because they were in bed with me, because my husband works away, so they love to be sleeping in the same bed. And then she's like, oh, she'll hear that noise when I share trade. And she's like, did you just make money? And I went, yeah, I just made money. And she goes, oh, okay. And she just started getting really interested
Hmm.
because she goes, so you just press a few buttons on your phone and you can make money. And I'm like, I guess so. I guess it is really, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, there's some research going on, but because I've done it for so long, I already have a list of shares that I like to kind of recycle through and
Yeah.
trade.
Yeah.
So then she's like, I want to learn.
Hmm.
So she said that since last year, but I thought last year she was 10, maybe still a bit too young, and we just didn't end up having the time. So this year, she just turned 11. So I said during the long summer break, school holidays, I'm going to start teaching her.
Hmm.
And that's how easy it is. An 11-year-old can learn it.
Yeah.
So if an 11-year-old can learn it, then yeah. But obviously,
Mm.
I'm saying that with the confidence that my daughter can learn it, but I'm pretty confident that
Yeah.
she can. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's got you to guide her as well, and which other people would as well when they would work with you.
Yeah.
And in terms of like the amount of, because obviously if you're trading on the US markets, there's a lot of turmoil happening in the US. Have you noticed the change in administrations over the years you've been doing this have impacted things, or is the strategy the same? How has all of that happened?
With the strategy, it's the same. So with this particular with covered calls, you can make money if this market's going up, down, sideways. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you pick a stock that is more volatile, there's a higher chance of it going down very quickly or going up very quickly.
Yeah.
So depending on what my students' risk profile is, I'll be like, okay, you're conservative. Let's pick stocks that are more conservative.
Hmm.
So what I found with the market being in turmoil is that you're better off with more stable shares in those kind of markets. But
Yeah.
when the market is like in a bull market, then it really doesn't really matter even what shares, you just make money
Yeah.
anyway. That's why
Yeah.
I said in a good market, anyone can really make money.
Yeah.
So it's then navigating that. But because of the insurance that I teach my students to buy, even if the market falls, they've got another way to make money as well. So the
Yeah.
insurance premium that you pay ends up making you money. So it's not just the shares or just the contract.
Yeah.
There's all these things that help.
Yeah.
And I don't really think the change in administration is definitely more volatile at the moment because
Mm.
when the president says something, it goes up and it goes down, and then you're
Yeah.
like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
But I've learned that it just bounces back. I mean, with the tariffs at the beginning of the year, I
Mm.
think, was it? No, the tariffs was last year. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But initially, it was like, oh my God, everyone panic. And then I think people get numb
Yes.
to the news as well.
Yes.
And the stock market also became numb to the news. So the beginning, yes, and
Yeah.
then it just kind of did its
Yeah.
thing and
Whatever.
kept going up.
Yeah.
Same thing with the oil.
Hmm.
Initially, it went down and then it just kept going up. And then now it's kind of doing this
Yeah.
up and down, but
Yeah.
it doesn't really affect what I do and what I
Yeah.
teach because my students are still making money. So,
Yeah. No, which is
yeah.
great too, because that's what you want because you can't control what's going on out there.
No, you can't.
And
That's why the mindset and the emotions or energy part is so important because
mm,
you really need to be in your bubble of
yeah.
no noise,
Yeah.
outside noise. Yeah.
Yeah. And even to like something that's changed the landscape for investing quite a bit in the recent sort of weeks has been the federal budget,
Mm.
which generally I don't think anyone was expecting that it would impact shares. It's obviously impacted the property investing space quite a bit, including inside like self-managed super funds even, which was a late
No.
surprise. And I was quite yeah, upset about that. But anyway, that's another thing. So obviously, you're not an accountant, you can't give people tax advice and all of that. But how do you sort of do you have accountants or do you tell people how to like how does that part kind of because obviously then there's the compliance bit that goes with the trading and then how the new rules might impact it from a capital gains tax perspective. How does that sort of part work?
Mm. I always say to people, the fact that you're making money,
Yeah,
you're ahead.
yeah,
Okay. I think people have this big thing about paying taxes.
yeah,
If you are paying taxes, you're doing well.
yeah. Yeah, I say the same. Yes. Hmm.
Yeah. So, yes, there's all these capital um, gains changes, but at the end of the day, even after being taxed more than what you would have before, you're still ahead.
Yes.
So, it's the mindset around the taxation that people need to work on
Yeah.
rather than how much tax. Do have to say that Australian government does not help people get wealthier. They tax you, the wealthy, unless
Yeah.
you're in up there where they know all the loopholes and they
Mm.
can, you know, what's the word? Avoid paying
Yeah.
tax. But for everyday Australians, the further you want to get ahead, the further they tax you, which makes me very angry. But anyway, um,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
another story. But like I said, it's getting your mindset around I'm ahead. I am paying tax more than I sh would have before, but I'm paying tax. I'm making money. I'm ahead of the
Yeah.
game. Yeah.
And I think you said when we were talking the last time that the platform allows you to kind of like from a compliance perspective, it kind of gives you all the information you need. So it still makes it easy to be able to at least have the information. You don't have to like, have like a ledger for every single trade.
You don't have to have a ledger for every single trade. So most share trading platforms should give you reports. If they
Yeah.
don't, then you need to really reassess your
Yeah.
share trading platform. Yeah, I just print out a activity report and give that to my accountant
Yeah.
each year during tax time, and they sort out the rest. I don't. have to do a general ledger.
Yeah.
However, saying that, I do teach my students when they are trading to keep a record just more for themselves to rather than having to keep going into do reports to
Yeah.
be able to see what they just placed and also at the beginning to also log their emotions and why they actually
Hmm.
decided to trade that particular stock. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, could you start to see what works and what doesn't and when things work? Like you said, you've got like your favorites.
Yes.
And the only way to kind of understand what your favorites are is to sort of see how the different ones have performed. And you'd be like,
Yes.
okay, well, this has performed quite well. This one's performed quite well. I'm just going to like keep doing more of the same because it's worked. And if
Yes.
it stops working, then you make a change. But you only know that if you keep track of it.
Yep.
Yeah. And so what sort of investment, I know you say this on your website already, but we'll talk about it too. So when people think of share trading, they might be, oh, do I need like tens of thousands of dollars to get started? Like what kind of level of commitment financially do people need to make in order to actually get started to make it worthwhile?
Yeah. I mean, depending on what type of strategy you want to use, you can
Yeah.
get started with very little. So
Yeah.
you've got those micro investing apps that you can start trading with,
Yeah.
a dollar or whatever. I don't really know how they work, but for a
Yeah.
small amount. But for my particular strategy, I say 2000 US, so about
Mhm.
$3,000 Australian is
Yeah.
a minimum starting point.
Yeah.
I usually say if you have 10,000, that's a sweet spot because you can
Yeah.
play with more shares or higher value shares,
Yeah.
but 2000 USD is the minimum.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to ask you what's if there's like a sweet spot there, but yeah, 10 grand. And I mean that's 10 US, yeah?
10 US,
Yeah.
even 10 Australian is still pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And see that's not like horrifically hard to like if you know what you're aiming for and that's a portion of your sort of cash in terms of like your net worth and I think that's something people can definitely aspire to and can actually reach to the point where you could start to dabble in it and get some understanding. It's 'cause like everything, confidence comes from doing. Like I think a lot of the time we inflate the difficulty of something in our minds because we haven't done it. It's unfamiliar. Our brains will reject the unfamiliar because what if it could hurt us? You know, we're wired for survival. So, but then once you do a little by little, and that's the key to starting new habits is you do something by little, and your brain gets used to it to the point where, oh, okay, I can actually do this. I mean, it works in reverse as well. It's like the boil. It's either like the boiling frog kind of analogy or then the other side of it, which is actually something that will help you in the future. So, yeah.
Yeah. What I
When you,
find, oh, sorry.
no, no, you go.
What I find interesting is sometimes I have students that go, oh, I only have 2000 USD to start with.
Hmm.
And then they start, and all of a sudden, there's all this extra money that they can put in because they see it working.
Yes.
So there's also that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is, I think, that cautiousness, which is probably not a bad thing, really.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I
So,
always say don't invest what you can't lose.
yes. Yeah. 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 I remember having that conversation once with a client who wanted to invest in crypto. And I was like, well, let's put the word invest aside for a moment and just say, putting money into crypto. And then they're like, oh yeah, and I put like, $10,000. I was going, okay. How much from a percentage perspective does that sort of mean of all of your money? And I think I only had about like $50,000. I was like, that's a lot in like from a percentage perspective. I'd be like maybe more like 1,000, 2,000 at the most. So yeah, and share trading is not even that is still investing. It's not nearly as volatile because you're still buying actual companies, aren't you? Like it's actual
Yes.
stocks. Yeah. So this isn't in index funds or managed funds or anything. This is like individual companies.
This is individual companies, but you can also do this with ETFs as
Okay.
well. Yeah.
Okay. So part of what you do is you actually teach people how to do the research and what to look for. Yeah. And
Yes, definitely.
and
I
how
teach you how to
to
fish. Yeah.
yeah, and how to narrow the 5,000 down to the like how many different companies do your clients typically invest in at any given time?
So I tell them no more than five at a time, just
Yeah.
more from a self-management
Yeah.
perspective, rather than that it's not they can't. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, and then how to dissect it down, obviously, as well,
Yeah.
because 5,000, while five, it's great to have choice. It's like, when I go to the milk aisle, they're just going, holy moly, like how many different varieties of even like almond milk can there possibly be? It actually got to the point where there's so many options. I just make my own now because I was like, I can't even be bothered trying to read all the ingredients and all the fillers and emulsifiers or whatever else they put in
Yes.
there. I'll just make it myself.
Yes, and yeah, and analysis paralysis is a real thing
Yeah.
because there's so many stocks, so many different ways you can analyze a stock as well.
Right.
So people get very caught up and then they can't move forward. I
Mm.
like to keep things simple, so I always say to my students, here we do the KISS principle, which
Yeah.
is keep it simple. I call it sweetie now because I had a student complain that you shouldn't say stupid. I'm like, well, the original was stupid, but sweetie sounds
Yeah.
a lot better. So I
Yeah.
like to keep it simple. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And have you found over time that different industries have kind of come in or out, or is it pretty much the same industries all the time that are, the big hitters?
For me, I don't really look at particular industries.
Hmm.
I look at the companies that with from the stocks that I have, the companies I like. So
Yeah.
then, yeah, I do try to diversify my portfolio though, because I tend to navigate more towards the like tech stuff, but
Hmm.
with the tech bubble, blah blah blah. I need to make sure that I diversify because you don't really know what's happening in that AI space as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I know it's constantly changing, and there's like a race between a few of them, and then others will come out, I'm sure, that we don't even know about yet, or yeah, and they'll all add on different functionality.
Yeah.
So you said you work one-on-one, so people can join like Cashflow Queen anytime. Is that? Yeah.
Yes, correct. Yeah. I don't usually have more than like three active students at a time,
Okay.
just because of the time on me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I just like to keep it in a small amount of people at a
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Okay. And so to find out more about you, because obviously, like you said, in order to help more people, you've got to be more visible. So you've got your website. We'll put a link in the show notes to that. And how else do people find you?
Yeah, I'm probably most active on Facebook.
Yeah.
So my handle is Kaki Lee 888 and same handle for Instagram, but probably most active on Facebook.
Okay. All right. We'll
Yeah.
put the links to both of those in the show notes as well, just so that yeah, people can, if they're driving and can't like write that down, they can still get to it. And yeah, that's really exciting. I'm excited to check it out. So I would highly recommend listeners to go and have a look through. You've got quite a lot of information on Cashflow Queen on your website, and yeah, and then you can have a. I think you've got also a free chat. Did I see?
Yes, so
Yeah.
if you've looked through the information and you just need that reassurance that I'm a real person or
Yeah.
have other and any other questions, then yeah, please book in a call
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
have a chat.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time and for what you're doing too, because it is quite rare. Because I see a lot of obviously with what I do, I get the algorithm sends me up lots of different things, and a lot of them I'm just going, I don't even what is that? Is that even a real person? Or even if they are, I was like, why are they suddenly big? And I've never heard of them, you know.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's
yeah.
generally something else going on in the background.
Yes, you have to be quite discerning nowadays with the investing ads.
Yeah, yeah, even ones where like I still follow Scott Pape, the Barefoot Investor,
Oh,
and quite
yes.
often he comes up on an ad, and I subscribe to his newsletter, and he's like, "That is absolutely not me. That's fake. They've just
Mm,
AI generated him." And I was like, oh, makes it really hard for people to actually understand what's real and what's not from real people.
yes,
So
definitely.
yeah,
Thank you
so
so much for this conversation.
yes, thank you everyone for listening as well. And I hope you got a lot out of that. And that's motivated you to actually get more into this because the more wealth that are in hands of especially women, the better our lives and our world will be. So we need to elevate that collective wealth in feminine hands. So thank you again, and everybody enjoy the rest of your week.
Bye.